All right, let's get to some comments. I got 100 in here. So, yeah, I'll read what I can. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. I missed you guys. Oh, and before I read these comments, I got something to say. And this is a sincere thank you, guys. The feedback I got from the sit down with Kenny Atkinson was pretty special, and it meant a lot to me. And not just me, but it meant a lot to the Cavs because I had a few conversations with the Cavs afterwards from a PR standpoint. And they want to allow us to do more of those one-on-ones moving forward with players and such. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for enjoying that. I'm glad it came out as well as it did, and I'm glad the feedback was as positive as it was. And I just want to say thank you guys, because part of the reason the Cavs are going to extend this invite to me again is they saw that you guys enjoyed it so much. And when they see a positive reaction to something, they go, hey, well, let's run it back. So essentially, I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching it, for liking it, for commenting on it. The words meant a lot. I don't usually read the comments. I did on that one, which could go one of two ways, but they happen to be positive. So seriously, thank you guys. And I'm looking forward to doing some more of that with players and assistant coaches, et cetera, throughout the season. So if there's someone in particular you want to see me try and sit down with for a little 10-minute chat on some hoops, shoot me a message. You can leave a comment here. Obviously, I'd love to talk to Donovan and the big name players. That may be further down the line, but if you have a suggestion on someone you think is worth having a combo with, let me know, and we will try to set that up in the near future. We're going to read some of these comments here, and then we will get on with our Sunday. It's beautiful. I'm going to go for a little bike ride after this. Let's see. I have over 200 in here. So, oh yeah, Sean, what's up, Sean Ferguson? I told you I'd give you a shout out last time and I missed it. So there's your shout out. Evan419 says, Mike, with Detroit continuing to chip away at their cap space, what can Okoro be expecting now money-wise? I still think the Pistons, and I could be wrong, I know they signed Tobias Harris. I know they got Malik Beasley for 1 year, $6 million. Like, hey, Cleveland, like, if that's the price, why the hell aren't you in the Malik Beasley market? I mean, he's not a great player by any means, but he certainly can help as a three-point shooter. His defense is a little overrated, but he's a guy, if push comes to shove, just for depth purposes, I think 1 year, $6 million is a bargain. I still think he's looking anywhere between like 11 and 15 million, somewhere between 4 for 44 and 4 for 60-ish, somewhere in that range. I do think it would be hysterical if he reunited with JB Bickerstaff in Detroit and they had a lineup, and I mentioned this on the last pod I did with Real Cavs fans, of Ron Holland, who they just drafted, the Thompson twin, who they just drafted last year, Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Isaac Okoro. None of those guys can shoot. It'd be the ultimate zag in the history of basketball. So Jay Got Juice says, no assets, no money. What are y'all expecting? That's kind of what I'm putting out there. I don't know what the realistic expectation is unless you want to break up the core four, because the Cavs do have assets. The question is, will they part ways with said assets? And there are always ways, by the way. There are always ways to acquire assets and find cap room. There's always ways. It's about getting creative. Daryl Morey does it as well as anyone. And look at what they just did this summer. Now, the Cavs could do that in theory by like trading away Donovan, Darius Garland in a similar situation to what the Sixers did with James Harden. It's not easy, but there are ways to go. Also, shout out Bo Naylor for the go-ahead home run, by the way. That is big time. B Skill said, I was thinking about some way to get Brandon Ingram and Cam Johnson. 0% chance to get both. 0% chance they get both. I mean, Ingram's the one that the Brandon Ingram sweepstakes are shrinking, just like the suitors for Isaac Okoro. Now that the Kings got DeMar DeRozan, it feels like the Pelicans and the Cavs are doing some sort of slow dance here, and they want Jared Allen. It's a matter of, will Kobe Altman part ways with Jared Allen? Who knows? But it'd be Jared Allen and something. And I have someone sent me a trade proposal. It's actually the perfect time to do this. Hold on. Someone sent me a trade proposal on Twitter this morning about Jared Allen and Brandon Ingram. And I wanted to read this for you. This is from Don the Amazing Spider-Man, who suggested The Cavs trade Jared Allen and Isaac Okoro in a sign-in trade to the Pelicans for Brandon Ingram and 2 first-round picks, and then flip those 2 first-round picks as part of a next trade to the Jazz for Lauri Markkanen, 2 first-rounders and Darius Garland for Lauri Markkanen, which would make your core 4 Donovan Mitchell, Brandon Ingram, Lauri Markkanen, and Evan Mobley. That is a very fun Twitter trade, but I don't think in any world you're getting 2 first-round picks plus Ingram for Jared Allen and Okoro. I think that's a pretty straight up. I'm not sure there's picks going any direction. I think Allen for Ingram is pretty it's pretty straightforward. Plus, they just gave up picks in the DeJounte Murray trade, so I'm not sure how many picks they even have left to trade. And if you had 2 first-round picks, I'm not sure Garland and 2 firsts enough for Lauri Markkanen either. He's the biggest trade asset on the market right now. It's funny. He actually may, as crazy as this sounds, he may have more trade value right now than Donovan Mitchell did when the Cavs acquired Donovan Mitchell because of the contract, which you're going to have to sign him to a big extension. But he's going to get 4 first round. He's going to get a Mikal Bridges-esque deal. So that was a fun trade proposal. On paper, I just can't see any way that the Cavs would get 2 firsts for Ingram, and then I don't think Utah would be interested in 2 firsts and Garland for Markkanen. So fun. We're going to keep on moving. Let's see. Rumple Foreskin says, remember the dagger Okoro hit to beat Brooklyn a couple years ago, just before his knee injury? He was showing potential. Okoro's not bad, and he does have potential. The question is, will he ever develop a consistent enough jump shot to be a threat in the playoffs? We've seen 2 playoff series in a row, or 2 seasons in the playoffs in a row. Teams just didn't guard him. And when you have a perimeter player, aka a non-big who they can just not guard, it essentially makes you unplayable on in a playoff situation, which hurts your value. And this riles up with Roland Walker. Says he has good value as a young piece with an upward trajectory and a reasonable contract. Yeah, he has some value. It's just, is it enough to get a bigger piece like a Cam Johnson, who is a better player and makes slightly more money than Okoro may on this new deal? I'm not saying he has no value. I just don't think it's as high as some people may seem to believe on Twitter. Let's see what else we got. Latte Larry says the only small forward the Cavs should be eyeing is DeAndre Hunter. I mentioned him earlier. He'd be a fit and definitely an upgrade if the Hawks would be willing to part ways with him. Once again, is Okoro, LeVert, and second rounders enough? I don't know. It's so like what we think is enough in certain deals, and just like that trade proposal for 2 firsts with Ingram, what we think and what GMs think almost never aligns, and it's so hard to get inside their brains. Rusty says we don't have a single first-round pick to trade to Brooklyn. The next first-round pick the Cavs can trade, I'm 99.5% sure on this, is 2031. I'm 99% sure on that, 2031. Let's see what else we got. Trade Darius Garland and George Niang and Isaac Okoro for Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love. Yeah, if you could. If Miami would do that, sure, but I just don't know why Miami does. It takes 2 to tango in all these deals, and I think that's the hard part of making fake trades is, does it work for both teams? And in that one, I don't think they would ever go for that. So let's see. This is from Mitch Valet. What do you think of adding a guy like Sadiq Bey as a 3-and-D wing if a trade doesn't work out? Another guy who I think would be a good signing. I don't think he moves the needle in any particular way, but certainly not a bad fit. A guy I'd be interested in, absolutely. But once again, just like Caleb Martin or Paul Reed, he's a good fit with more size than the Cavs' current 3-and-D wings. But I just don't think, if that's your offseason move to brag about, it's a pretty disappointing big offseason move. Let's see. Floyd, why do people call me McNuggets? On our third show, Joe Thomas called me McNuggets, and it just stuck. There's really no reason besides that. If Joe Thomas calls you something, it is what it is. Roland, I read one of your comments. I met it up there. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We had over 400 in here today. That was pretty sweet. Austin says, how do you feel about Emoni Bates and his current development? The Cavs put out their summer league roster, I think it was yesterday, and it said Emoni Bates was listed at 190 pounds. He then replied to a tweet that said he's up to 196, which means he's put on, if my math is correct, like 17 pounds of muscle. If you're going to believe the 196 from Emoni Bates, I have no reason not to believe him. About 20 pounds of muscle. I'll be curious to see how that impacts his first step quickness in the summer league. But Emoni Bates is the type of player who, going into his second professional season, should dominate the summer league. I don't mean like, oh, he played well. I'm talking dominate. He is a guy who is set up to thrive in those situations where it's a lot of iso ball, a lot of creation, one-on-one. There's very limited plays they run. They just say, roll the ball out, go hoop. That is a situation for Emoni to thrive. And if he's put on 20 pounds, essentially, and hasn't lost his first step quickness, and he hasn't changed the jump shot form with the added muscle, this is a guy who should be in contention to win Summer League MVP. I'm serious. Now, does that translate to traditional basketball in the regular season? We'll find out. But Emoni Bates is in an absolute perfect position to thrive in the Summer League. Let's see. And then Pitt says, could he evolve into the shooting guard that Tracy McGrady was? Hey, Tracy McGrady is a Hall of Famer and a legit top 70 NBA player of all time. So if he can, hell yeah. I mean, that'd be the best case scenario. He has the tools. It's can he kind of put it all together? And that's the question that he had coming out of the draft. That was the question he had coming out of high school. The skill set is there. It's the willingness to play basketball the way a coach wants you to play that has always kind of been Emoni's biggest knock. And in the G League last year, you didn't hear that often. So hopefully he's taking the necessary steps to progress to being like that. Let's see. Rusty says, yes, 2031 is the next pick they can trade. Adam says the Cavs and Pelicans are playing chicken to see who budges first. That legitimately could be the case, by the way. That legitimately could be the case. Bow down before you serve. Trigger said if you could only have one, Cam Johnson or Hunter. I think Johnson's a better player and he's more healthy more frequently, so I would go Johnson, but I think they're relatively comparable.